Now, the story of the Chinese spy balloons and what may not actually be Chinese spy balloons seems to be the big thing that's trying to distract everybody right now. It is oddly convenient that this would happen, around the same time, and then these balloons would repeatedly appear, like once, okay. But the fact that the media is saturated 24/7 with these balloons, while there's many other important things going on at this time, most notably, of course, the disaster that's unfolding in Ohio right now. But one thing that has flown completely under the mainstream media radar has been the announcement of the end of the investigation into the 2014 Malaysian MH17 flight over Ukraine. You remember that, the one that they claim Putin had shot down for, I don't know what reason, because it wouldn't have helped him in any way. And we know it was Putin because Putin does those kinds of things. Well, how do we know Putin does those kinds of things? Because he did this. Putin's, we know Putin does crazy things because he's crazy, and we know he's crazy because he does these crazy things. That kind of circular logic that really doesn't make any sense. Now, the joint investigative team said last week on Wednesday that they were not able to find sufficient evidence that could produce new prosecutions and are therefore suspending the investigation. Dutch protester Dighoff van Boort-Zeller said the investigation has now reached its limit. All leads have been exhausted. According to the investigation, the Malaysian Boeing was shot down by a booked surface-to-air missile. The team claimed that there were strong indicators that it was shot down by an air defense system in the Donetsk People's Republic. The region is dominated by Russian separatists, but they claim it was done on the personal orders of Russian President Vladimir Putin. They say there's not high enough of a bar of evidence to actually have conclusive evidence and cannot make any definitive accusations, even though they kind of just did. Now, they've been unable to confirm the identities of the actual Russian officers believed to have been operating the book system that shot it down. Now, in November, it was used by a Dutch court to give out life sentences to 2 Russians and 1 Ukrainian national who held high-ranking positions within the separatist forces, and to give them life sentences, convicting them in absentia. Which is strange, because if the actual investigation can't find any proof that Russia did it, but they can prosecute 3 people without proving who did it, that whole thing just seems really kind of sketchy to me. And of course, they have always ignored the actual probe that was carried out by Russia. I mean, they did their own investigation into what happened, and that investigation was, of course, completely ignored by the mainstream media, and it was ignored by the court, who convicted these 3 men in absentia. What is also interesting is that Ukraine did not give the raw radar data from the day of the tragedy. Well, they said that this information is not available. Now, that seems very highly unlikely. I'm sure that information actually is there, but they don't want to actually give it out because that might contradict the mainstream narrative that Putin was the murderer who shot down an airliner for no reason. Well, so actually, what is their evidence that Russia did this? Well, they were shot down with a Buk BUK missile system. But the thing is, everybody in the region has that. That missile system is owned by everybody, including the Ukrainian government itself. The whole thing, it doesn't make sense. Russia would gain absolutely nothing from shooting down a civilian airliner. It doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't help them in any way. It makes no sense whatsoever. It does kind of make sense to shoot it down and then blame Russia for it, especially when the side that most likely would have done it for that reason mysteriously can't find their raw radar data. Of course, we're not going to know for sure exactly who shot this airliner down, because the evidence just isn't there. But let's hope that maybe planes in the future decide to just completely avoid the area. And I'm well aware of the no-fly zone, etc. It's just hoping that civilians who particularly don't have anything to do with this conflict end up dying because of it. It's bad enough that this inter-imperialist conflict is going on. It's really unfair for civilians outside of this conflict to be suffering as well. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.